lunch, mate. My ass.
I'm only 4. Bonjour, Monsieur Pussycat.
Cracking toast, Robert.
Start spreading the news.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the short podcast about short films. I'm your host, and we are discussing the Academy Award for Best Animated Short. Today's episode is about the 57th year of the award at the 61st Academy Awards, which celebrates the films of 1988. Today's guest is a longtime friend of mine. Please welcome everyone, April. Hello, April.
Hello.
Hello. It's an honor to have you here.
It's an honor to be here.
Yes. Yes. It's just like this whole episode, I've been just very excited to record this because I love talking to you and I love the shorts that we're going to talk about. I think the two together are just going to make for a very great conversation. But
yeah, I remember you talking about doing this. I don't know how long ago. That was when I was still on Twitter, so that was a while ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a long time coming, and I'm just very excited to finally be. This whole podcast has been just like it boggles my mind sometimes how long I've been doing this. Like, we're recording this July of 2023, and I started this, like, the first episode is posted in June of last year. It was recorded on May 28th of last year. And it was just like,
wait, I can
Christ.
swear, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Half my guests asked that, and it's just like, yes, of course, you could swear. I swear all the time. Fuck, shit, piss, ass, dick,
Taint.
cum balls. Exactly. If this podcast ever gets big enough where it's just like I have like an editing team or something, I want a super cut of all the times that one, a guest has asked that on the episode, and two, my flurry of swear words after that. I think it's always just like starts with fuck, shit, piss, and stuff like that. But
that's a classic string, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just trying to mimic the famous George Carlin, like 7 dirty words or whatever. But anyway, let's get the business end out of the way. Tell us, what is your familiarity with the best animated short category?
In terms of the like category itself, I've never been like that into the Oscars necessarily. I've been interested before, but I have a background in animation, and a lot of the time I do have awareness of the shorts that come out, and I end up seeing some of them. But that's more like contemporary stuff rather than like the 80s, which is what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like just knowing you, I would personally say that you probably have a better grasp of this category, even though you don't pay attention to it. You'd have a better grasp of this category than not to shit on my other guests, but you know more about this than some of the other ones because they probably just know they do just know like the Pixar shorts, and pretty much that's it. Whereas I feel like you have more of a knowledge of like animation history, and really kind of famous short films like end up popping up in this category just kind of randomly. Like I know you've seen The Snowman, and that's more than I can say for a lot of people out there. And The Snowman,
God,
is
I love
great.
The Snowman.
It's so good. It's so cute. It's so sad. It's so beautiful.
Such a great Christmas watch.
Mm-hmm. And it lost to fucking Sunday in New York, which I don't know if you've seen, but
I haven't. I've seen the poster though with the, is it an old dude?
Yeah,
out of clay.
Yeah, it's a claymation short film. After this, I'm gonna make you watch it.
Okay.
I always do this every single episode. I just bring out like a random old short film, and then it's just like, oh, I need you to watch this bad one. And just see how you react to it.
I was listening to one of your episodes earlier. I think the most recent one with Madeline, and you talked about, what is it called? Like the Sun and the Mare, the Apple TV short that won last year.
The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse.
Oh, I was thinking of Son of the White Mare.
Yeah.
My bad.
Two
But
very different things to mix up. But yeah, the boy, the mole, the fox, and horse. I bring up that one a lot. I fucking hate that one, but I'm
I've been
definitely
wanting to watch that because of all of that I've heard about it, how it's like 20 minutes of just quotes that want to be really poignant and affecting, but it's just a flurry of nonsense.
oh yeah, it's miserable. At least with like Sunday in New York or like the Crunch Bird, another favorite one I like to force people to watch.
Oh God, the Crunch Bird.
Those are ones that are very, very short. Oh, I have made you watch the Crunch Bird. I just remembered.
Yeah, and I appreciate that you showed that to me
Oh
so I
yeah.
can have a justified dislike of it.
Yes, it's an awful short, but it's one that I just love to hate. It's something that I find very fascinating. Meanwhile, the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse, I wish just didn't exist. Uh, but yeah, I'm getting into my usual rants that I'm sure like the three people who regularly listen to this podcast have gotten so tired of. Or maybe they love it. Maybe that's why they keep coming back. But
That's
let's just
all they're here for.
that's all they're here for. They hear me shit on the boy, the mole, the fox, the horse.
They clap when they hear you mention it.
They have a bet with their friends that every time I say it, they get $5. The boy, the mole, the fox, the horse.
The boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. Did I get it right?
Yes, you got it right. The fucking endless words. But yeah, let's just move on to something. The real thing we're here to talk about.
Real meat and potatoes.
The three nominees this year, and specifically our first nominee and the year's winner, which is Tin Toy, directed by John Lasseter, that piece of shit.
Oh, of course.
This is the second nomination and first win for Lasseter and producer Bill Reeves after Luxo Jr. 2 years prior. So, picking off where we left off then, Pixar is now an independent company, no longer a subsidiary of Lucasfilm, and Steve Jobs is now the owner. The Pixar company was mainly interested in being a technological firm, advancing 3D imaging and simulations, and their new Pixar imaging computer was their crown achievement, which Jobs helped put onto the commercial market, intended for use by schools and laboratories and the such. The short film division, which at this point was only 4 people, Lasseter, Reeves, Eben Osby, and Sam Leffler, was considered an unimportant part of the company by many employees at Pixar, including the founders Edwin Catmull and Alvy Ray Smith. Steve Jobs was the one who had to convince them how these short films can help promote the computer and sell more units, though they weren't convinced that Lasseter's team wasn't just wasting the little money that they had. But with the support, both moral and financial, from Steve Jobs, they kept making films. And as the Pixar imaging computer failed to sell, the company would soon lean more and more into their animation division. But we'll pick up that story next time. For now, we have a. What was that?
That's a very interesting history. I actually didn't know about any of that. Sorry, I cut you off on your
No, you're
your
fine.
intro.
I wish more people would ask questions during this section. I feel like they get scared that it's just like that they're gonna like cut off my flow or something. But no, it's just like I if you have questions, please like raise your hand. Except I can't see you, so say something, and I'll stop and let you ask questions.
Isn't there a raise hand function in Zoom?
Probably, since this is like an educational tool, but I don't know this thing well enough to know where it is.
Play chime for raised hands. Okay, I'll stop looking at that. There are more important things going on here.
Yeah, because for now we have a little toy made of tin to discuss. These
Exactly.
exactly. These Pixar shorts can be almost reminiscent of the Silly Symphony cartoons from Disney in the 30s, as each short film they make represents another step forward in their technology. And while we can't properly chart the advancement of the technology in this category like we did with the Silly Symphonies, as this is the last Pixar nominee prior to the release of Toy Story, I will mention that Tin Toy is the first film of theirs to feature a fully rendered environment, as well as their first semi-realistic human, or more accurately, a baby. And in John Lasseter's obsession with bringing inanimate objects to life after Luxo Jr.'s lamps and Red's dreams unicycle, Lasseter fixes his eyes onto a toy representing a one-man band and called him Tinny. In Tin Toy, we see the fabled battle of a baby that wants to play versus a toy that doesn't want to be played with. A regular David and Goliath story if Goliath were a baby and David were made of tin and also a one-man band. April, start us off. What do you think of Tin Toy?
So I love Tin Toy.
I know you love Tin Toy. I know you love that fucking baby.
Everybody cracks on the baby, and like I get it, but I can't look at that baby and not think it's just hilarious.
He fills
It's
me with joy.
it's not scary to me. It's funny.
Mhm.
Watching it this time, like previously, obviously there are the shots of the baby walking that are fucking terrifying. It reminded me of the rear view mirror shot in Jurassic Park, which I found interesting because that came out 5 years later, of course.
Mhm.
But the way the mouth moves, especially, is so. It feels like a piece of rubber.
Mhm.
It's really funny to see how far Pixar has come. I don't know what point I'm trying to make here,
I
but
the thing that stuck out to me was how the baby's diaper looks like it's made of concrete.
oh, dude, yeah,
Like that thing is solid.
so chunky.
Uh, but yeah, the short itself. Like, what do you think of like the story that's
Oh yeah,
there?
I went off a tangent about the baby. Story itself.
It's hard not to, but yeah.
So I had a VHS with a few Pixar shorts. I think it was Luxo Jr. It was this one and Knick Knack.
Oh yeah, the snow globe one.
Maybe Jerry's Game too. I'm not entirely sure. But so I have a lot of nostalgia for this short, which obviously is a bias. But maybe what the fuck am I talking about?
You'll find the words. Don't worry. Take your time.
Talking about the short. The short itself is a piece of shit, I'll tell you that.
Really?
That's not true. I actually like it a lot. John Lasseter. It's really interesting to watch it now without like childhood goggles and be able to see how much of that comes out in Toy Story as well.
Mhm.
Specifically, of course, the shot under the couch. They have that in Toy Story with Sid's toys under his bed.
Yeah, like if there was any of the previous of the Pixar shorts that was it would be reminiscent of Toy Story. It would be this one.
Yeah.
Not just because like it's about a toy and being played with and stuff like that. But I just think like I guess maybe that is just it, but also I think it just has a same sort of charm that like early Toy Story has. That I feel like the other short films at this time. I'm just going to say this. I think this is the best pre-Toy Story Pixar short film, which I think might be a hot take. I feel like some people just kind of think all of these shorts are bad, but I
How
think
many how many were there? Because I
uh,
remember
there
Red's
was
Dream. I forgot about Red's Dream.
there's quite a few. I think more than people realize. Is because there's the three you mentioned before. There's of course Red's Dream. There's like Andre and Wally B.
Mhm.
Uh,
That was the first one, right?
yeah, that was the very first one. And let me look up. Okay. Oh wait, it was just those five. Okay. I overestimated. I thought there was more because like there's these five that were made in the 80s, and then it's nearly a decade until Jerry's Game comes out, which is their next one after Knick Knack,
Okay.
which I didn't realize. But anyway, of these first five, I think like people kind of just view all of them as kind of like bad, or if at the very least they view it as like kind of like throwaway. Like there's no substance to them. They're just glorified tech demos,
Hmm.
which in a
And I
sense
can
they are.
see that.
But also, I think Tin Toy just has so much charm to it. I think it really gets like adding life to all these different characters, or at least like actually, yeah, not just the main two, not just the baby, not just the little not just Tinny himself, but even the one shot we get of all the other toys that are like hiding under the couch. Like I think those ones, like they still have so much life, even if it is just a simple expression of fear. It's like they have so many unique designs uh, of those different toys just for this one little gag in there. Like they could have
Yeah.
just been one toy, but no, they put like 20 of them under there.
They
And
gave
it's,
names to all of them in the credits.
oh damn, I didn't even I didn't watch that far. I turned it off right as the credits rolled. But
You missed some important Easter eggs in there, I'll tell you that much.
I'm sorry.
Set up for a sequel.
It, it's like there's this other short that also won called The Box, where it's just like it's all about this guy in a bar and he has a box with some animal inside it, and like the ending joke of it is that there's another woman in the bar who also has a box with the same animal inside it, and they walk off, and it's just like, and that's the ending. That's when the credits roll. But if you stay to the end of the credits, they reveal that it's like Noah's Ark, and like that's the whole, which is
What the
very
fuck?
needed information to really explain like what's going on here or like why this is all happening. But anyway, back to Tin Toy. I just love this. I think this is such a great short film. I think that piece of shit John Lasseter did a great job with it. And
Gotta remember to say it every time we say his
yeah,
name.
the last time the last when we talked about Luxo Jr., my guess I did mention like Sex Pest John Lasseter in the intro for it, but she didn't hear me say that and also didn't know about it. And so
Oh,
at the end of the episode, she was just like, wow, John Lasseter was so cool. Oh, like, and I had to wait for her to go through her praise of him. We were like, hey, did
oh
you not
dear.
know about this? Just question. Um, but yeah, sorry, Chloe, about that. Anyway,
Sorry, Chloe.
um, I also really love the design, not just of the baby, but of Tinny himself, to the
Oh
point
my
where
god, I know, right?
he's so cute. I also just the idea that it's a one man band. Like I think that's really just so charming in itself. Well, I think they literally later have a short called One Man Band.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, and I love his design so much that I bought a little Funko Pop version. Well, it's not even really a Funko. It's made by Funko Pop, but it just looks exactly like the tin toy. Like it's not like it doesn't have the big black soulless eyes or anything. It's just Tinny, and he's
That's neat.
adorable.
I'd like to get one of those. Although I think we talked about it before. I'd like to get one with the packaging from the short.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be nice if they had like the actual packaging. Which speaking of that packaging, like you were talking about how like the shot of the baby walking in, I like the shot where Tinny is like looking up through like the plastic, the cellophane of
Yeah.
the box, and the baby's face distorts a little. And I know you like that because that was one of your profile pictures way back in the day.
Oh yeah. That baby, I think, is still my Tumblr profile photo and has been for like 6 years.
Yeah, that baby has just had a real big impact on you. And in case you couldn't tell, audience, it's like that. This short is really why I invited April onto this episode, because she's made this short kind of her personality a little bit, but also,
It's what I'm known for.
yeah, it's what along with the slow mo guy in the balloon, the water
Oh my god.
balloon, and Tom Scott peeing in the pool.
Tom Scott peeing in the pool. What the fuck are you talking about?
That was one of your
Oh,
old profile
I just
pictures.
yeah, I just remembered.
I'm throwing out the April deep cuts here.
We'll keep them coming. Let's have another deep cut.
Let's see if I can remember any of your other profile pictures. Uh, I think you had Kayla from eighth grade at one point.
Oh, you think I had Kayla from 8th grade at one
Definitely
point?
had Kayla from eighth grade at one point. Um, what other profile pictures have you had? I'm just remembering mine from back in the day.
Yeah, I'm thinking about yours too. I'm thinking about close up Bo Burnham,
Oh my, all my
close up
close-ups.
Greta Gerwig,
Smiler from Emoji Movie. That was a big one for a while.
Paul Newman with "You Know I Had to Do It" to him in the background.
Yeah, you hid that in there just for me. He God, I miss those days. But also I don't
Right.
because
We don't need to get into that though.
Ariel Rux 5. Just
Shout out Samantha.
oh my god. But I wanted to go back to the short, but also I know one of my active listeners and also frequent guest Christoph has told me that he likes it when his podcasts like go on tangents. So part of me is like, oh, I need to go back to the short, but also part of me like, no, more tangents, keep them coming.
You need to give me one more profile photo deep
I
cut
do need
before
to
we
give
move
you
back.
one more. I need to give you like something that wouldn't be obvious. Oh, but my mind's just blanking right now. Like, what else did you have? Uh, oh no, I'm just thinking of your current Discord profile picture, which is outside in.
Oh my God. You gotta have a special episode for Outside In and have me back on.
Oh yeah, like I have a so after we get through animated short, we are just gonna go on like a free for all where it's just like every episode can be about whatever short films I want to talk about, whatever theme I want to go on. And so it's like I need to find a theme that I could use to talk about outside in, and where it's like I might just end up having like shit post episodes, which but I think like outside in deserves something better, like mathematical explanation videos that are actually kind of cool.
I genuinely really love watching that thing. I'm not that interested in the mathematic aspect of it, like the logical sense I am, but it's just good to watch.
You mustn't tear or crease it. Do you have anything else to say about Ted Toy? I think we've kind of run out.
In toys. Sorry for that silence. I was looking up Outside In. Um, so something I noticed this time is that there are actually a couple of times they reuse shots, which is something I didn't think about before.
Oh, I
There's
didn't
of
even know
course
this.
it's not like egregious or really noticeable at all, but there's that shot where the baby is running at the camera. They reuse that two times. One of them is obviously obfuscated behind the plastic, but when you're so familiar with the movement in that shot specifically, you can't not notice that.
Mhm.
Um, Something else is that Pixar for a while was not able to move their cameras in 3D space. They could move it along one axis, I think, or they had or they just had like a really wide shot and then edited the camera to be horizontally like a virtual dolly essentially.
Mhm.
Um, but that's something I always think about watching the early Pixar, which I think is it's really neat that they were able to work under those constraints.
Very Wes Anderson.
Very Wes Anderson indeed.
Oh my god, I'm imagining now a Wes Anderson that like one was like working in like the early 90s and two like enjoyed CGI animation instead of like his standard stop motion. And so we get like
Yeah, in an alternate universe, he's just some fucking weirdo in his garage on his MacBook making Blender animations for YouTube.
or Pornhub.
Hey, it's possible.
They have the technology. Uh but yeah. But honestly, I want to see like I feel like Wes Anderson could do a really good like he could experiment well with like other like animation mediums like outside of just the uh
Totally, yeah.
like the figure stop motion that he's used to, like even like other forms of stop motion, like whether it be like claymation or things like that, or it's just
I'd
like
like to see like a two-dimensional film of his, even if it's just like a short film. I want to see what he could do with that. But
I
even like a CG space, there's so much that you can do. Like Amazing World of Gumball, you look at that, they're blending all sorts of styles. They can do so much, like pretty much anything these days.
Mhm. I think there's an alternate universe where he does like glass animation, like sand on glass or oil on glass animation. It's like I think That's one of those like, do you know what I'm talking about? Where it's like
Sand on glass.
yeah, where it's like backlit and the sand
Oh, is that like Prince of Ahmed?
no, that's that's like cutout animation. That's silhouette animation.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
sand on glass is like literally like you have sand on a piece of glass that's backlit, and the sand like blocks out. Like it's similar to cutout animation, but you have more freedom, I guess, with it. Yeah, but also
Yeah,
it's
I've
like
never seen this. I'm looking at photos right now.
yeah, Caroline Leaf. She does a few shorts of it. She's great. Hey, um, but yeah, Tintoy. One thing I did want to say that I just remembered now. I really love the ending of this. I really love how like the whole thing is about how he's like scared to play with the baby, and like all the other toys are also scared to play with the baby. But when he like
Mhm.
finally is like, you know what, I'm not gonna be afraid anymore. I'm gonna let the baby play with me. He goes up to it, and the baby just wants to play with the fucking box, and then it plays with the fucking. It just sticks his head in the bag. Which has the Pixar logo on it, which is a cute little reference. But
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
the baby in
That's
the
all a
back.
boy needs is a little bag.
It's such cute imagery, just a baby in the bag. But yeah. Anything else you'd like to say about Tintoy, or shall we move on?
I I think we about covered it. I
We've talked much longer than the runtime of the short, which does happen a lot. But yeah, it's like how much is there to really talk about? There is a lot, but I think we
you
talked
could
about
fill novels and novels about Tentoy, but
about just
as
the baby
somebody who
even.
has only watched it twice today, I don't think I can say anything else.
Mhm. So yeah, let's move on to our second nominee, which is The Cat Came Back, directed by Cordell Barker. This is the first nomination for Barker and the 21st nomination for the National Film Board of Canada. The film was
Wow.
also, yeah, National Film Board of Canada. They have a long history in this category, especially at this time period when, so like early days, the studios ran everything. It was all just Disney, MGM, Warner Brothers, or they pumped out shorts. But in the 50s,
Okay.
they stopped making shorts because it wasn't profitable anymore, especially with TV and shit going on. And so uh, when the studios fell, what we got instead was a lot of independent animators and nationally funded animation from other countries, which since Canada is right next to us, they get a lot of nominations here, but only a few wins. Like they get 21 nominations, and at this point they only have 3 wins, which were all in the late 70s. And just like
Something happened that shifted the scale there.
actually, I just realized they have the same track record as Meryl Streep.
Oh my God, like perfectly.
Like I think she might have one or two more nominations, but yes,
Than the entirety of Canada.
well, Canada does end up getting more like we're only in 88, hey, and they get more nominations over the next few decades. But at this specific point, as we're recording, uh, Meryl Streep has had the same number of nominations at them at some point, if not currently. I forget if she has like 20, if she has 21 or 22, but
Yeah, well, how many best animated short nominations has Meryl Streep gotten?
zero.
Yeah,
But
there you
how many
go.
Best Actress nominations has the National Film Board of Canada gotten?
Probably
Also
a
zero.
couple.
No, I do know for the fact it's zero.
Look closer. Read the fine print. You might find something there.
Like all their nominations come from animated short, documentary short, live action short, and then documentary feature and one single best foreign language film nominee.
All I'm saying is look a little closer. Saoirse Ronan might be a secret Canadian.
No, she's Irish.
You can be Irish and Canadian.
I mean, and just the fact she might be Canadian doesn't mean she's going to be working for the National Film Board of Canada. She's not a foreign agent, unlike other nominees from the National Film Board of Canada. That was part of that's something to talk about in the bonus episode. How they got in trouble with the Reagan administration.
Oh
But
my God.
that's a story told in a different time. Um, let's get back to my intro here. I don't even remember where I left off. Um, Yeah, 21st nomination for National Film Board of Canada. This film was also produced by prior nominee Richard Condy, who goes unnominated, but he and Barker are both part of the Winnipeg unit of NFB's animation division and share very similar character designs, absurd comedic sensibilities, as well as animated with a boiling line technique influenced by Dutch animator Paul Drijssen. Also, Condy voices the main character in this film, as well as singing the song that plays over it. Barker always wanted to be an animator, but living in Winnipeg had made it difficult to achieve anything that he wanted to do, which made it very fortuitous when NFB decided to open an animation studio in Winnipeg in 1976. Before then, Barker had to resort to just commercial graphics work that never really allowed him to stretch his animation wings. But with NFB, he and the rest of the Winnipeg unit ended up being quite influential in that world of animation, with Condy's The Big Snit as well as today's nominee becoming incredibly renowned and influential to this day. The Cat Came Back, along with its Oscar nomination, earned a Genie Award for Best Animated Short Film and was featured in the list of 50 Greatest Animated Shorts as chosen by animators. The film is based on a folk song by Harry S. Miller of the same name and tells the story of old Mr. Johnson who had troubles of his own. He had a yellow cat that wouldn't leave his home. He hatched a special plan with deception as the key. One little cat, how hard could it be? But the cat came back the very next day. The cat came back, we thought he was a goner, but the cat came back, it just couldn't stay away. I thought this, so I keep thinking about this short. Like, ever since I first watched it, this short has not been able to leave my mind. Like, for the past 3 years, that song, first of all, the song that plays over the short is so infectious. It is just so perfectly rhythmic that it just loops forever in your mind. Even when you're not consciously thinking about it, it just stays there forever. And it's just like every now and then you'll just come back and be like, the cat came back. And it's just there forever. You can never get rid of it. It'll just always be there until you die, and probably after that, just like the characters in this short. Or
Whoa, spoiler territory.
these are this is an 8-minute short film based on a song from over 100 years ago, probably 150 years ago. It's fine. And we spoiled the ending of Tintoil, so
Oh yeah, I apologize, everyone listening at home.
I feel like at this point it's just like, and also I list the short films we talk about in like the description of the episode. So if people want to go in without spoilers, they can. And but
The title itself is kind of a spoiler. You could call it Brissonian in that way.
Maybe. I'm
A
trying
man
to think.
escaped.
Oh yeah. I had to remember who Bresson was, so it took me a while. I love A Man Escape though; it's very great. But yeah, this short film. So first of all, song incredibly infectious, incredibly fun, incredibly bouncy.
Yeah,
Absolutely
totally
love
agree.
it. And also so with The Big Snit, which is a very similar animation style, I didn't really like it how it's used in that short film. Like, I used to hate that short, but I came to love it on this last watch. And just like, but I still have mixed feelings about the animation. I think it's ugly, but here I think the fact that it's kind of ugly works, and especially with the fact that the cat is so darn cute and the man is so ugly, and it's like I think that contrast there helps, and it's just like I think also with the animation, I really love the little interludes where it's like the man is violently trying to get the cat away, like first leaving it in the forest and then dropping it in the ocean, hot air balloon, train tracks, all the great stuff. And it's just like I think it's just animated in such a great way. It's the classic comedic violence that we all know and love. It's so
How
good
can you
here.
not love comedic violence? I mean, that'll
I
be a
mean,
theme with the one after this, of course.
yeah, it's just like we love cartoon violence, and everyone who doesn't is a narc. Uh, do you hear that, narcs who are listening to this? I hope you're not listening to this, but if you are, get off this page. You are not welcome here.
Listen, any fucking tattletales listening to this podcast,
Fucking snitches. Got stitches. Anyway,
I
cat
want to
came back.
talk
Oh yeah, go.
about my favorite gag in the short. Actually, first, I want to give a shout out to the boily line technique because it's very charming.
Hmm.
I like it a lot. That's something that you see a lot in like modern internet animation.
Hmm.
It's a great technique to just keep things alive, and uh it does a lot for keeping the pace, I think.
Hmm.
And the movement, like people will look at that and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. The movement is really, really good. Just all the character movement, the timing is just the animation is so, so good.
It's
I
so
don't know
good.
how else to describe it. I love it.
Like it's just so hyperactive in the best without being like too much.
Yeah.
Just the perfect amount. Like they really went off in this one. Good job, Canada. You
It's the
did it.
perfect, or maybe not the perfect example, but it's a great example to me of utilizing the medium.
Hmm. Definitely.
But I wanted to talk about the highlight for me was the moment they get on, what is that railroad car
I
thing
th-
called?
I think it might I don't remember what it's called. I think it might be called a rail rodder, but I might just be thinking of like the Buster Keaton short.
Whatever that's called. They get on that and they start going down the tracks, and there's a lady tied to the tracks, and you think, oh, that's funny. And they go along, and there's a million of them tied to the tracks for no reason. That's my favorite part. That's all I had to say about that. I liked it a lot.
And also the cow at the end of it.
Yeah, why the fuck was there a cow tied to the tracks?
I mean, a cow villain tied the, or I guess a bull villain because it's supposed to be like it's typically like a male villain tying a female to a cow. So it's like a yeah,
To a cow?
a cow to the rail.
Yeah, I want to see a movie where a villain ties a woman to a cow.
I mean, that might do something. Although I guess cows are more laid back. They don't. It's not like they get uh put in stampedes or anything.
No,
At
they're
least
very
not that.
compassionate creatures. They'd probably take care of her.
Yeah, they just graze the pastures, you know. And also, I looked up the thing, and it's like so. It is. There's a lot of names for it. Apparently, it's called a hand car, a pump trolley, a pump car,
Hand car.
a rail push trolley, a jigger, a Kalamazoo, a velocipede, or a dracine.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
You can just call it a hand car. I think everyone will know what you mean.
yeah, hand car.
Hand car.
But yeah, I I also really love the ending of this short where
Oh, me too.
it's just like first the guy dies and it's just like you can tell how far gone he's gone trying to get rid of this cat because he is laughing about the fact that he's fucking dead and so the cat can't annoy him anymore. Or it's
Mhm.
just like he dies in like this big explosion that's been sends his corpse flying through the air. Or and this ghost comes out or angel comes out. It's like starts laughing at the cat and then his fucking corpse crushes the cat and nine of them come out because you know nine lives. And it's just oh it's so
That's
perfect.
that's such a sensible chuckle.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like it it's the kind of like you know how like when you're writing comedies or whatever or it's just like you get your first idea and then you immediately throw it out and try to think of something better because if it's your first thought it can't be that good. And it's just like this feels very much like a real thought about it kind of ending. It's just like, yeah, that's what works. That's what's good.
The perfect ending.
That's what really seals this thing. Like, and it's just like this is just this whole short is just such a perfect little thing. And when I also just off topic, but also on topic. Like when I read about this short, apparently this is one of the most famous NFB short films because I from what I read about it, it gets played both on Canadian animation a lot or Canadian television a lot, and also was apparently something that played on Nickelodeon a lot back in the day. Like
Yeah,
I don't remember ever seeing this, but
I think we
maybe
were
I
too
did.
young for that.
Yeah, like back in like the 90s or whatever, maybe even into the 2000s. Who knows? I don't. Um, but yeah, so just through that, it's just like a lot of people ended up just watching this short film, and that's great. I think more people should watch this. I I did send after watching it this time, I did send it into my work group chat, and nobody watched it, of course, but maybe they will, and maybe they just won't didn't say anything about it. And I also sent a picture of the cat and labeled it baby, and then sent it to like 5 different discords I'm in. And I just because the cat's a baby, it's just a baby, you know. It's cute,
Yeah, little tiny baby.
and it's also evil, but in a cute way. Like it's just tearing up the couch. It's just being a little shit, which cats are known to do.
I
Anything
was
else you'd
just
like to say?
I would like to say, because you brought up sending the video to your work group chat, it reminded me of the Onion headline. Friend who sent link to 8-minute YouTube video must be fucking delusional.
Yes, I am. This short makes me delusional, just like the man in it, just like old Mr. Johnson.
What I liked about Mr. Johnson is that he was, first of all, he was born in 1908, which you get to see on the photo frame. He has a
Oh yeah.
framed photo of himself as a baby with the year written on it, which I appreciate. But he starts out just playing a tuba, looking out the window.
Hmm.
I like how arbitrary that is. It's silly.
It's very silly. It's just like that's what an old guy does with his spare time. He just plays the tuba out his window. So
I
I
will
guess
say his eyes make me sick.
that's that Winnipeg, the Condi animation style. Like their teeth, their eyes, their noses, all their facial features are just completely fucked up. It's just like oh, and the big snit. It's just like one of the running gags is the fact that like the wife in it, she's like taking her eyes off and shaking them, and
Oh
like and
God.
it they're like a like a baby's rattle when she shakes them and she puts them back on. On it's just like it's unsettling a little bit, and also her like top mouth and bottom mouth are disconnected. It's
Ooh,
just like it almost looks like her head is coming off her body whenever she speaks. It
that's terrifying.
I that might be in the watch list of the thing of all the different Oscar nominated short films I make you watch after this. Friend sends you 3 Oscar nominated short films must be delusional. Anyway, anything else?
Make that article the thumbnail to this episode, please.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll make that the Twitter image I put on the link. Um, yeah. Anything else you'd like to say about the cat came back?
Um, I really didn't have a whole lot to say about it actually. I enjoyed it. I thought it was cute. I liked the animation a lot. The song was very catchy. I
Yeah,
think maybe it deserved to win a bit more than Tin Toy. Which I mean, Tin Toy has its own merits, but as a short film, I feel like there's a lot more substance here.
mm-hmm. We'll get more into like who we think should have won at the end of the episode when we rank these 3 nominees.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to spoil anything though.
Speaking of substance,
Hold on, I just wanted to say, I when you brought up the fact that he's playing the tuba at the beginning, it just reminded me of uh, when I watched it this time. When I saw that opening shot, it's like that's when it really clicked for me. That's like, oh, this is a fun episode. This is gonna be fun for April because that whole character moment I thought was just very you. Who it's just like it's something you'd appreciate, and the fact you mentioned it here just says that my mind was right.
what
Uh,
is it that see he gets angry while he's playing the tuba because he hears the knocks. Doesn't he get up and be like, "What the fuck?"
maybe I'm trying to remember that part, but it's just like, but it's like, and then he sees the cat, he's meowing, like, oh, and he gets this little fucking rattle, puts the baby
Yeah,
out.
see, I
Cat in a
got
high
I
chair.
got lulled into a false sense of security with that. I thought it was going to be really cute, and then it was just like 8 minutes of anxiety.
It's 8 minutes of torture for that guy, but also he's kind of a dick. But also the cat is like the worst cat,
Cat
so it's
is kind of a piece of shit.
they deserve each other.
Oh,
No, no. Yeah. But our third and final nominee is Technological Threat, directed by Bill Croyer. This is the first and only nomination for Croyer and producer Brian Jennings, also being produced by Rich Moore, who is unnominated. Croyer's story begins at Disney Animation Studios, where he works on Fox and the Hound, only to leave the studio shortly after the film because he simply doesn't want to do the Black Cauldron. He meets Steven Lisberger, an animator with his own studio, and works with him on a film called Animal Olympics, which is a TV film for NBC and their coverage of the 1980 Olympics. After that, Lisberger pitches a film to Disney about a man who gets sucked into a computer called Tron, and Croyer is brought onto the project. Tron is a very early and major example of computer generated special effects in films, and it was working on Tron that gave Croyer an interest in 3D computer animation. And he wanted to combine it with 2D animation as well, and formed his own studio with his wife, Susan Croyer. And today's nominee is what came from that. And he would supervise the computer animation used in other films like Jetsons the Movie, as well as Rugrats in Paris, and would also go on to direct Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. But going back to today's nominee, it represents something truly fascinating to me. It combines traditional 2D animation and computer generated 3D animation to tell a story about a dog businessman who sees his coworkers each being replaced by robots and decides to fight back against the machines and the company via cartoon violence. And it uses those two animation styles, like animating the fox or wolf or dog or whatever in 2D while the robots are in 3D, as well as the environment. It's really interesting. But April, you start us off. What did you think of our final nominee?
I loved it. I just something about it. I think it's the fact that this was probably the most me short, at least me right now. Um, just a lot of goofy dudes all around. So fun to watch them move all around, all the things that they do, the way the robots move, especially,
Mm-hmm.
and like the boss yelling while he's flailing his arms walking away. I think that was my favorite moment. Um, I really liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I first of all, I also really like this. I also really like the animation. I like the design elements. I love the way the robots look because I don't think that's like an obvious robot design where it's like you have the
Oh
way
yeah.
they have like their heads are floating, then the pencil and paper is underneath the head, and then it's like their weird body and whatever. And it's just like that's a really cool robot design. Like that I don't think I've seen things like that, or it's like it implements like really like floating objects like magnetism, like reverse polarity magnetism or whatever.
See,
Or it's
that was part of one of the gags that really stood out to me was there's the moment where he starts to kind of lose it and he grabs one of the robots by the pencil, or is that what he does? Or
I,
he
I
does
know what you're talking about, but it's
okay,
just
so the robot's pencil is essentially its neck at this point, and you see like a gulp go down the pencil.
mhm.
That's so fucking creative.
Yeah. Oh
How do you
yeah,
come
like
up with that?
yeah, well, like when he gets rid of all the robots except the one, it's just like go and then just like goes after it. And also, I like how there's just like the one shot where you realize that the boss has also been replaced by a robot. As just like uh, this
Wait,
whole
what the fuck? Did the boss get replaced by a robot? Did I miss that?
yeah, like at the start of the short, it was a dog, but then like halfway through, it's just like he looks over to the boss, like pressing the button, and it's now a robot. I think
I
it's
didn't
like
even catch that. Holy shit.
when the last two dogs or whatever or get ejected, the boss is a robot at that point.
Jesus.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just like I think the very obvious thing and obvious messaging here is about, it's a very classic, like very similar to like the John Henry's story, where it's about like man versus machine, and how like we keep trying to overcome like the fight against the progress of technology to keep ourselves useful, to keep and like it's especially something that it's a theme that's eternally prevalent ever since the Industrial Revolution, ever since technology has been getting better and better, or
Mhm.
that like we've been in this constant battle. But it feels especially poignant now, considering like we're in a time, like we're recording this at the time of the writers and actors strike, and I imagine when this comes out it'll still be going on, because I
Yeah.
don't think the studio's giving in that soon. um but and so it's just like very prescient, like they're fighting against like studios using AI to replace them or anything. They're fighting for protections against that. And it's just like that's literally what's happening in the short film. It's a guy fighting against being replaced by robots.
That was definitely at the forefront while I was watching it.
Yeah. And at the time when the short was made, it was really a response to computer generated imagery, and especially in animation field, which
Interesting.
makes it funny that Tin Toy beat this short, considering this is the very first computer generated film to win.
Uh-huh.
But also, uh, well, that was actually my thought, like before researching this episode. But finding out that Bill Croyer like is a person who like was actually really interested in animation, in computer generated animation, and like his career would go on to be solely around that, right? Or at least the combination with 2D, like I was saying, Jetsons the movie, Rugrats in Paris, Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. Uh, it's just like it's very interesting to see how he's the person who's actually embraced it rather than fought against it. Like this isn't
Mhm.
just, so it's like maybe I have to rethink, like it's less of attack on uh computer generated imagery, and it's rather like how they should team up, which is like the ending of the short actually, where it's just like they work together to get the boss, which is a really great moment. It's just like that's the kind of thing that, you know, we should be fighting against, the oppressors, the bosses, the
Mhm.
capitalist greedy owners and whatever that are just trying to destroy anything that they deem useless, which is like what the boss is doing. Like every time any of the employees show one sign of weakness, just sends them down the tube or whatever, down the garbage chute like Veruca Salt. Um, it's just like when they get rid of the boss, it feels like a moment where like the fox and the robot are going to finally team up
They're gonna
and be like,
kiss.
yeah, they're gonna fuck hard. Um, but instead, it's just like they're leaning over the little hatch, and it's just like then the fox is like looks down and looks at the camera, and he gives this little smirk, and it's just like, yeah, you know what's gonna happen. And then he pushes the robot, the last robot down there too, and he takes like the boss's cigarette or whatever, and it's like he is now the boss, which I think is maybe the weakest part of the short. I think that's a bad ending for this, as although who's to say really? I just think I'm a very workers' rights oriented person. So when I see a person, this guy essentially becomes a class traitor. Like he's just going to hire more foxes and
Uh-huh.
eventually become exactly like the boss at the beginning of the thing. It's just like, yeah, it's
I
a
can see
bit,
how it fits in thematically where the working world kind of does that to people, but
yeah.
in a vacuum, I definitely would have liked to see the nice dog and the cute robot work together.
hmm Although there's also something to be said about how this is something. So, like a lot of the animation, a lot of the violence that the fox enacts against the other robots, it's very reminiscent of like Tex Avery cartoons from the 40s
Right.
and 50s. And I think that does fit in a lot with that more golden age cartoon sensibilities. I think that is like the ending that you would get in those kind of films. So I think maybe
That's
that's
fair,
that's
yeah.
just what Croyer was trying to emulate. It's just like a kind of ending that would come up there. Which, yeah, it's not a bad ending. I think I was wrong to say that earlier. I just think I would have liked a different ending, but I can still enjoy the short with the ending it has. I think it works fine for the story that it's there, and it is kind of funny to see the fox just like push it down the hole. Oh, this is like when you think it's just like, oh, it's over, or we don't have a guy to like push us down the hole anymore. Then he pushes him down the hole. It's like that one Tom Scott sketch where it's like this is the hole. Fell in the hole.
How often do you make Tom Scott references on this show?
That's probably the first one, just because I knew you would get the reference in a way that I don't think anybody else would.
Aside from the reference to him peeing in the pool from earlier.
Yeah, those were the first two Tom Scott references in the history of this podcast.
Hopefully not the last. Many more to come, folks.
Hopefully. Maybe I'll do an episode on his different videos, because those are essentially short films. Let's be honest.
Essentially, yeah.
Though if I opened up that can of worms, it's just like there's a deep rabbit hole that I could go down. Like, I think I want to limit myself to like things I would find on Letterboxd, which still opens up to shitposts, because I know Potion Seller is on there. Or I know there's a lot of weird YouTube shitposts that are on Letterboxd that my friend Christoph, who's also a frequent guest on the show, he complains about that because he watches like he tries to watch a lot of short films, and just like when he sees like one of those just end up on like highest rated short films just because it's people who love the shit post that are like jokingly rating it 5 stars. It's just like he's not a person who enjoys that sense of humor really, and so he's just forced to watch Potion Seller. I need your strongest potions, and
See,
he's just
I don't
like,
know
what
if
the
you know
fuck's this
this.
shit?
I don't know if you know this, but all of the Astif movie series is on Letterboxd, and it has not been taken down.
Did you put it on there?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just saying.
Tom's Ridgewell. Oh, here it is. Oh yeah, it's literally just Astif movie, and then it also has the Meanwhile 1 and 2 for some reason.
You know what's embarrassing is I could probably talk longer about Astif movie than I could about these shorts.
Well, that makes sense to me, because Astif movie is like 20 short films in one thing. It's just like throwing a bunch of different gags at you. Yeah, and it's just like you could talk like for a few minutes about each different thing, and that would get you like 20 minutes per Astif movie.
I'm trying so hard not to go off on a tangent about Astif movie. This is not the appropriate time for that.
Just say one of the lines you like from Astif movie. Just one single line. Pick one.
Okay, I'm not going to deliver it in the same delivery, but I like when the clown teaches a llama to drive and then gets surprised when it is not good at driving.
I like the one about falling down the stairs.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
let's have an hour-long podcast where we just recap Astif movie jokes to each other and say, yeah, I liked that one.
Yeah, and it's like we don't like say any of the lines. We just say a basic description.
Yeah, you know the potato one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Where the potato like pulls out the gun.
I forgot about that. That one's good too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or is that the one with the cupcake who like really just wants someone to eat it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care for that one.
Yeah, it's one of the later ones. Like, who cares about that one? But
what I was trying not to say earlier is that I think it's taken a sharp fucking downturn, and I think he needs to stop making them.
I still watch them. I still laugh at them.
I do too.
I think like they are certain, like I don't think that the jokes are any worse. I think it's maybe just one we've just grown up. Like, and like the
That's
first
probably
like I think the jokes are still just as stupid, but also I think they have improved in production quality, which also makes them lose a little bit of their charm.
Yeah, I think that's all it is to me.
Hmm. Yeah, but yeah, Astif movie, very good. Uh, Anything else you'd like to say about technological threat, though?
I liked it a lot. I thought it was very cool.
I also liked it. I also think it was very cool. But we've gone through our three nominees now. We're done. But when we're done with our three nominees, it's time to rank them all. April, put this into a BuzzFeed top three list. What is your number three?
My number three, which is very funny because it's the entire reason you invited me for this episode, but Ten Toy is my number three.
Wow. I did not expect that. Um,
And
and anyone elaborate on why?
that's less of like an indication of what I think about Ten Toy and more just I think the other shorts are higher quality.
Mhm. Yeah, you still certainly
Um,
love Tin Toy. It's just you thought the other two were
it is
better.
a bit of a nostalgia appreciation, which is impossible to avoid really, but I still think it's charming and cute.
Yeah. My number three, and I'm just going to preface this saying I love all three of these. These are three great shorts in my opinion. But my number three is Technological Threat, which I think I just don't have as much fun with it as I do the other two. Where it's like I do appreciate like the message of it. I think it's the most like I don't want to say the most thought out because I don't think that's true. But I think it is the most it's the one that's actually saying something. It's the
Yeah.
one that has a more of a point to it. And but despite that, I just think I just I would rather watch the other two,
You don't
which
think
might.
Ten Toy is going to be taught in theory classes?
But the thing is, Tinto is going to be taught. It's also going to be taught, like for the like improvement in animation and things like that. It's a
But in
very
theory classes.
in theory classes, probably not. But also, I don't think technological threat is going to be taught in theory classes because nobody fucking knows what
That's true.
technological threat is. Uh, but yeah, uh, technological threat is my number three, even though it is very good, just because I don't like it as much as the other two. That's really all there is. April, what's your number two?
My number two is The Cat Came Back.
Interesting.
And just like Ten Toy, that's not a comment on the short itself. I just like technological threat a bit better. I think it's more breezy and just a bit funnier.
Mhm. My number two is Tin Toy, uh, which, uh, like I was saying before, I think the short is incredibly charming. I think it's very fun. And in its very brief runtime, I think it's only like 2 or 3 minutes long. I it is so economical with his storytelling. But it tells a story here. It tells a full story that I enjoy. I think it's it's somehow underrated, which I feel like for a short that is as famous as Tintoy, it might be the most famous short of this whole decade of all the nominees in this time period. It's just like I feel like people don't really appreciate it. I think they just view it as like, oh, it's it's the first short on the collection of Pixar short, or not the first short, but one of the first shorts there. Or it's
It's
the
the
one
one
with the
with the
ugly
ugly
baby.
baby.
Yeah, exactly. He, but it's just like it's more than the ugly baby. It's a cute baby and it's a tin toy, and they have a relationship. It's like there's an emotional arc here, and it's like I like that. And it's also funny. It's cute. It's adorable. I
It's a
love
funny
this short,
movie.
but it's not as good as The Cat Came Back. The Cat Came Back. I did not expect this. I did not expect it to jump so high up in my ranking of the best animated short nominees, but it did.
Oh, do you have a list of all of them?
I have a ranked list of all 500 over 500 shorts. Yes.
I
Uh
gotta take a gander at that.
Yeah, I will send it to you on Discord right now. If I can find you, there you are. There you go. Boom, bam, boom. But yeah, it's like it was probably around the 100 mark, and now it's jumped up to number 45, which is very high. Like this, it's right below the Snowman, which is another short that I really love, that you really love. Of
Mhm.
that, you can hear me talk all about that short film on the episode with that one, the Sunday in New York episode. And it's just, but the cat came back just so thoroughly charms me. It's so infectious. It is so funny. I can't stop thinking about it. It just drills a hole into my mind. It like 3 or 4 years ago, whenever I went through all the shorts, like even though I probably watched The Cat Came Back in the middle of a marathon of 20 other short films, it has stuck with me for so long. And it is just, you gotta respect that. If something can just drill a permanent place into your brain like that, you, even after just a single watch, that's gotta be worth something. And
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
I just love this film. I think it is so good. But yeah, that's my ranking. That's your ranking.
Yeah.
This is a very good year, I think, but not in the way that I think other years are good years. Like the like I keep bringing it up, but the Snowman year, the Sunday New York year, I think that's a good year in the way that it really represents like the broad spectrum of that category, because you have Mickey's Christmas Carol, and you have Sunday in New York. Wait, I might be mixing up years here. I don't. I think
You just
Sound of
lost
Sunshine.
all of your credibility.
I don't think Snowman and Mickey's Christmas Carol were the same year, but I think Sound of Sunshine, Sound of Rain was that same year, maybe. Why am I blanking on this? I need to. It's been a long day. I'm tired right now. That's what I'm blaming on this. I woke up at like 1 a.m. I think.
You've been
Did
awake
I?
since 1 a.m.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyway, it's 8 p.m. for me currently. Um. Oh yeah. Snowman wasn't Sunday New York's year. Sunday New York was with Mickey's Christmas Carol and Sound of Sunshine, Sound of Rain. Snowman was in the same year as Tango and Great Cognito. But my point that I was trying to make was still applies with that one, and because it's got like that year is very good for showing a broad spectrum for what this category offers. Like you have the Snowman, which is a very traditional kind of nominee in this category. It's something that you would, it's very similar to like the silly symphonies that Disney used to make, where it's very focused on music. It tells this overarching story. It's great. It's beautiful. And then you have Tango, which shows the more like uh, how they will go on to nominate more experimental films, more out there films, stuff from like European countries. Who would have thunk it? It's just like it shows how the Academy, like in this time period, are kind of forced to branch out. And then it also has the Great Cognito, which represents just the weird shit that they like to nominate sometimes. Just the things that really nobody should like. Nobody would understand how a person would even make that. But you
Great
just gotta
Cognito.
admire it too for just being so fucking. Why are you here?
Oh God. Yeah, I just looked it up. What is this?
The Great Cognito. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Oh
it's
my
a
God.
short film that is just like a bad comedy routine, an impressionist, and the guy's head forms into the different impressions he's doing, and it goes into more outrageous things.
This is
Hey,
the dude that did the California Raisins.
yes, Will Finton. You're the first person to know what the California raisins are.
Shout out California Raisins.
Oh yeah, you were on Madeline's episode, so you heard me explain about that.
I don't think I actually got that far.
Oh, okay. Wait, actually, I don't think. What? When did I? Which episode was the California raisin where I talked about the California raisins? I think it was that year actually, the Great Cognito year, because that was the last year that Will Vinton gets a nomination, and it's before he really explodes. In turn, like getting the California Raisins gig, like doing fucking Michael Jackson music videos and Moonwalker and all that
Holy
fucking
shit.
shit. And Will Vinton has had an insane career. And yeah, and there's also the story of Bob Gardner, was who invented a lot of the claymation techniques and was a colleague of Will Vinton until they separated, and Bob Gardner never got the same that success that Will Vinton got. It's a sad story.
Oh.
Anyway, the point is that 1982, that's a great year in terms of showing the breadth of the category. Meanwhile, this year, it doesn't do that. It has 3 short films that are all very Academy friendly. Like they're all they're not all United States shorts. The Cat Came Back's Canadian, but they're all like English language things. They're all like made within the United States. It's not the Academy really stretching their wings anywhere, but these are all still 3 very good shorts that I could easily recommend all 3 of these to anyone, I think, or at least
Yeah.
anybody who has a passing interest in animated short films.
Yeah, I agree. I sent technological threat to my friend Francis.
Oh, nice. I hope
Your friend Francis too, I forgot.
my friend Francis. Yes, I'm becoming Francis's friend.
Yeah. Once
It's,
you can differentiate S and Francis.
I S is the dragon one.
Yeah.
Francis is the one with the yellow profile, orange profile picture.
Yeah. The orange bat.
It's a bat.
Yeah.
I just view it as an orange circle with eyes on it.
Oh, I don't think it's a bat in that one.
Oh.
But yeah, an orange bat is her persona.
Oh, okay. Okay. More you know. I didn't know Francis had a persona. I'm learning so much today. I'm so very tired, but here we are. But yeah. Before we end our show, are there any final thoughts you'd like to share, April, or anything you'd like to promote even?
I have got a YouTube channel. I've got a Bandcamp. Hate saying the name out loud, but it's Chocolate Souse, SCHOCLATESOUCE.bandcamp.com, where I make music, and there is a link to my YouTube on that page. Go check out my fucking silly toot noise video.
Oh my god, the silly toot noise video. Oh god. You have a lot of great videos on that channel.
That's about all I got to promote.
Listen to April's albums, please. She makes some good fun music.
Please listen to my albums. Also, shout out Wong Kar-wai. I watched In the Mood for Love last night. If you're listening, buddy, good fucking job.
Oh yeah, but shout out to Wong Kar-wai, and also shout out to Greta Gerwig. I watched Barbie for the 3rd time today, and
oh, that's chump change. I've seen it 7 times.
No, you haven't. Don't lie
That's a lie
to my audience. You've seen it once.
I've seen it once. Once was not enough.
It was definitely not enough. And this bit of me shouting out Greta Gerwig specifically is going to become so much funnier next episode. You wait and see.
Next episode.
Yes. It's not going to relate to any of the short films nominated. It's a very much an inside joke because we recorded the episode already. It's but yeah, that's a great episode. It's an episode like this one where we just kind of talk about nothing for a lot of it, because there's really only one short film that episode we want to talk about. And we're just kind of stuck on the other 2, and we end up on a Greta Gerwig tangent, and I'll let that go when we get there. But I just wanted to say, like, thank you for the millions of followers. We're one of the most popular podcasts in the world now.
Dude, that's fucking amazing. Congrats.
Thank you. I was just saying the stuff about 3 listeners early in the episode just to be humble. It's just like I'm on Mr. Beast levels now.
You've got that Spotify podcast contract. You've
Mhm.
got hundreds of millions in the bank.
I'm gonna get an unboxing Max Joe Rogan next week.
Fuck yeah.
Mhm.
And then you're gonna get a box of Mac and eat it.
I actually did get a box of Mac today. And I
Dude,
might
yeah.
might eat it later today or tonight.
Fuck yeah.
Might go to sleep also. Who knows? Who's to
That-
say?
That's my final message for everyone at home. Go eat a box of Kraft mac and cheese. It's good stuff.
Oh, and mine isn't Kraft. Mine's Annie's, but
Oh, Annie's is good too.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Save the world. My final message. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Um, but yeah, thank you, April, for coming on the show. And thank you, listener, for tuning in. This has been a short podcast about short films. Until next time, goodbye.